has quickly developed. And again, the main community in the path right now, Larkin, and perhaps down to Swaim as well. Again, this is fairly rural area, mountainous territory here, heading from northeast Madison into northeast Jackson County. So the next community that would likely be impacted would be Larkin. So if you're in Larkin, I want you to head to your tornado safe place just in case something were to develop here. In fact, I think we do have something. This is looking at our debris tracker, so I do believe we have something on the ground here, northeast Madison County. Again, the good news, if there is any, is that this is likely located over a very rural area right now, east of New Market. But again, if you're over here towards Larkin, I want you to head to your tornado safe place. This is the county border between Madison and Jackson County. Right here is where it appears we do have a tornado, because we are picking up a debris signature, and this is also coincident with where we have the strongest rotation. So quick little spin up here, appears to be on the ground. Again, just a little east of New Market. I'll show you how far from town this is. So New Market proper, this is about 4 miles to the east of the center of New Market there on Winchester Road. But again, it appears something is on the ground as we are getting a signature here of debris being lofted. Again, this is primarily a forested area in this part of Madison County, and it is getting ready to head into Jackson County. So again, if you are here in Larkin, down to Swaim, but in particular around Larkin, here along Alabama Highway 65, I want you to head to your tornado safe place. Looks like we have up here towards the state line Francisco. I want you in your tornado spot as well there. But again, in particular, Larkin, you are most in line for seeing this tornado, which appears to be on the ground and doing some damage right now, is moving through. Again, we'll show you the view here. In addition to the tornado threat, again, right in this area east of New Market, right on the county line now, heading into Jackson County, we also likely have extremely high wind as well. Notice there's the latest scan update. There's a very sharp change from no rain to torrential downpours. And when we see a signature like this, this is an indication of likely some very strong wind. Could be 60 miles per hour or higher. So there are a couple hazards here. Again, the tornado potential moving towards Larkin, but areas from Princeton to Skyline to just outside of High Top. In addition, we're looking at perhaps a substantial damaging wind threat coming in with this. Let me track this entire area. Again, this is surging to the east around 50 miles per hour. This will put it into Paint Rock Valley High School on the south end by 414, same around Princeton. The Swaim area around 417, Estill Fork around 419, reaching High Top around, 425, and Jericho coming up around 427. Let me check here the latest with the National Weather Service. We are also getting lots of reports of power lines down across parts of Madison County, particularly this northern part of the area. So again, tornado observed due to the rotation and the fact that we see a debris signature there. So this is, again, confirmed tornado, northeastern parts of Madison County. Let me get back in here, show you the circulation. It appears to be not quite as well defined now. I'll move this back a few frames and we'll show you what we were watching. So this was just a couple minutes ago. There you see well-defined rotation here. The green blowing towards radar, red's away, so you get that counterclockwise rotation showing up. But the most recent scan here, we're kind of losing that a little bit. It's still here, and keep in mind, going over the terrain, sometimes that can disrupt these circulations. So at least for now, the signature is not as strong, and I also suspect we're not seeing the debris signature. There it was right here. Again, something touching down in the terrain, likely doing damage to trees. That was at 4:06. And then as we move it forward, we're kind of losing that signature. You look for that really concentrated little, basically just looks like a little dot within the sea of red. Now again, there's still little indication here, but it's not as well defined. So that combined with the fact that the velocity signature is also a little bit weaker leads me to believe that maybe whatever was here has lifted. But with that said, we're also looking at the possibility this is going to produce some strong damaging wind gusts. So again, if you're in Larkin in particular, need you to head to your tornado safe place. Even if you get some 60-mile-per-hour winds, that's going to cause some issues. Trees down. Again, we've got reports of that. Power lines down northern parts of Madison County. So at the very least, very strong wind. But again, Larkin, you would be kind of in line to where that circulation is going. Anywhere basically from Francisco down to Larkin to Swaim along this Alabama Highway 65 corridor, northwest Jackson County. Once you're in your tornado safe place, lowest level of the building that you're in, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, it appears that maybe the circulation, we're kind of losing it a little bit compared to what it looked like. This is, one of the things as we're tracking these storms, we have to look at how are things evolving. This is what it looked like when the tornado warning was issued. Well-defined sharp change from green to red here near Newmarket in a small concentrated area. That has now kind of spread out. It is not nearly as well defined. We are still seeing, again, some wind in green blowing towards the radar, and then in general, some wind blowing away in the red color. And again, this is approaching Larkin. But I will say the signature is not as significant as it was. And we're really not in a setup for storms that are going to develop rotation and to be able to sustain that for a long period of time. So a brief spin up, possible, yes. And I believe we did have something that briefly touched down. But I do believe here at the moment that threat has perhaps at least temporarily subsided. Again, the debris tracker, not seeing anything like we were seeing that I was showing you just a second ago. That tornado warning, though, does remain in effect. And at the very least, we're likely talking about some strong damaging wind that may occur in association with this thunderstorm coming through. So again, this is bearing down on Larkin right now. If we do see a new area rotation develop, probably here now south of Francisco, just based on the way this is kind of continuing to bow on out. But again, I believe what happened is this northern part of this line coming through Madison County merged with this band of showers that you now see along the Tennessee border. And that created a favorable situation for a quick little spin up there east of Newmarket in northeast Madison County. Still going to keep an eye here. Again, Larkin, once you're in your shelter, if you're just north of Larkin and between there and Francisco, watching this area, this is, again, very strong wind. You can tell by the way the radar looks here. It bows out. Basically, this is being caused by very strong wind coming through Larkin, and it is possible we may get a new little spin developing here just north of Larkin at the northern extent of where that bowing is happening. Don't think we have a new update here on the velocity scan, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that. All right, let me tell you again, I think the immediate threat for a tornado perhaps has subsided, but very strong wind continued to come on through. This is the bigger view, and this is the most organized thing we've seen all day long, to be quite honest. And again, all along this leading edge is going to be the possibility for damaging wind gusts. We have a lot of trees, of course, here, Jackson County. If you are in areas north of Scottsboro, Princeton, points eastward, just be prepared. There could be some trees down. There could be power outages, already getting a lot of those being reported in parts of Madison County as well. And severe thunderstorm warning, you can see, has been extended for basically all along this line through Jackson County. That does include you folks in Scottsboro and even on over towards DeKalb County, towards Henniger. So let me track this entire area for you, and then I will give you an update on the tornado potential. Again, this is all racing east now, around 50 miles per hour. So next in line, Skyline, about 422. The Woodville area, 426. Scottsboro, 437 for you. Stevenson 442, Pisgah around 448, the Long Island area 455, into DeKalb County. We're talking Henniger around the top of the hour, and Trenton coming in around 6:04. Again, couple of hazards here. The one that's most likely to impact you if you're in Jackson County, damaging wind could exceed 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. And it's this northern part of Jackson County where we are keeping an eye on tornado potential. Again, it appears we did have a tornado that touched down east of Newmarket. It has since lifted, but let me get back in here and just take another look with the latest radar update and see what we have happening north of Larkin. Still, there is some spin being indicated here. Here's Larkin. Again, strong wind coming through there. And it's going to be right here now, right off of Alabama Highway 65, northeast of Larkin by just a few miles. Or if we're going to get something else to spin and perhaps develop a quick tornado, I think that's where it is going to be. So anywhere now, next up, you folks here around the High Top area, that's where the radar is located from the Weather Service, Jericho. Estill Fork, got the high wind here. Again, if we're going to see a tornado, it's probably going to be north of Estill Fork. Don't necessarily think that we do have something right now, but let's take a quick look here. Don't see anything in the debris tracker that would indicate anything on the ground. But again, that's going to be, let me just show you the area that I'm going to be watching. If something else is going to develop, it's going to be kind of right here where you see this rain bowing out, and then right here on the northern extent of that, that's where you can get some new spin to develop. But again, I believe what happened was when this line interacted with this band of showers, we got some quick spin to develop, and that kind of came and went, but appears it was enough that we likely had something touch down there briefly east of Newmarket. Again, here's the wind velocity. In general, you do see the wind blowing towards the radar in green. That's your strong wind now. East of Larkin, it is going to be approaching High Top to Jericho along the Alabama Highway 79 corridor here in Jackson County. This is where we have the greatest potential for severe weather, and it's going to be right here where the greens and the red colors switch. It goes from one to the other. If we're going to get any more brief type of spin-up tornado, that is where it would happen. But again, right now, I don't believe that we have anything that is on the ground. Again, we'll take you back in time. And this is where we did have something right here. Again, this was east of Newmarket, a little southeast of Plevna. This is the northeast corner of Madison County. Something touched down there, but again, likely in a mountainous forested area, as it doesn't appear we have any sort of significant communities or really even roads out here. And again, that has kind of come and gone. We're not seeing that being repeated right now. But there does continue to be a little bit of rotation showing up here in northwestern Jackson County, approaching High Top, approaching Jericho. So if you are along this Highway 79 corridor, northern Jackson County, just want you to go ahead and go to your tornado safe place. Again, I don't necessarily think we have a tornado imminent, but I do believe we have the potential for some very strong wind coming through, 50, maybe 60 miles per hour associated with this line of storms. Again, this is about as sharp of a change as you can see on radar, going from nothing to very, very heavy rainfall. And it's when you get that sharp transition, that's usually a sign of very strong wind. Again, this is our tornado warning highlighted here in the pink purplish color, confirmed by radar with the debris signature. But again, we've kind of lost that. The rotation has kind of fizzled a bit, but at the very least, this is also where we have the possibility for very, very strong wind that could exceed 60 miles per hour. Let me take a quick look here. No updates here from the Weather Service. And again, we do continue to get some reports. Trees and power lines down out of the Harvest area. Other parts of Madison County had some reports of some power lines down in the vicinity of Pratt Avenue and Coleman Street in Huntsville. So again, we've had some very strong wind that has come on through. Our tornado warned storm, again, I think the threat has at least temporarily abated. That tornado warning does go until 4:30, so we're going to stay with it, and we'll see if anything else is issued or if anything else spins up out of this. But again, I think we had a quick touchdown near Newmarket, a little east of there. But the good news is, very unpopulated area in that northeast corner of Madison County once you get out of Newmarket. So if there's a positive, it's that. But it does appear that a quick tornado did spin up and touch down there. Again, my main concern at the moment here, if you're in northern parts of Jackson County, is going to be that possibility for damaging straight line wind coming through. Let me show you the wider picture, what we have going on. In fact, we'll give you the big view here across the area. This is something we were going to be talking about anyway, going into Maine weather. You can see most of the action now east of I-65. So Sand Mountain, you are still under the threat for severe weather. Jackson County in particular does look like they've extended that tornado warning, so I'll get back to that in just a second, and I think it's because of that one area where something else may spin. If you're west of I-65, hey, you got a break right now out towards the Shoals. You had the storms first. Wider view, there is another area of storms that is developing here, parts of West Tennessee, northern Mississippi. This will be spreading east, so if you're out here in the Shoals, northwest Alabama, there is more rain that will come in through the early evening hours. But we're a little uncertain if this is going to pose a severe weather threat, particularly once you get, I think, to the Huntsville metro points eastward. This big storm, this big cluster of storms really kind of eating up the energy in the atmosphere. So that may make it a little bit difficult for these to get particularly strong, and that may be the case for you folks out in the Shoals as well, because you did see the heavier rainfall a little bit earlier. But we are going to keep an eye on that. Again, our immediate threat here for severe weather is far northern Alabama. Eastern Madison County, have a lot of thunder and lightning happening in Huntsville, but actually what's been odd with these storms is the more significant lightning is actually lagging behind the leading edge of the heavy precip. But still, a lot of lightning happening right now. That may cause some additional power outages, but you see the sharp cutoff in rainfall now headed back towards the city of Madison. So raining pretty good here, Huntsville, South Parkway, over into the Mooresville area. But again, our threat for severe weather is beginning to shift across Jackson County. Again, our tornado warning has been extended. It's no longer a confirmed tornado. We did briefly have a confirmed tornado just because of the debris signature. So this is a radar indicated tornado, basically right along the state line. Again, I think it's just north here of High Top, right along the state line. So if you live in this area, just outside of High Top, if you're here in southern Middle Tennessee and Franklin County, Tennessee, folks in Winchester, this stays south of you. This does include almost to Sewanee and to Sherwood there, southern parts of Franklin County in Tennessee, and northern parts of Jackson County, including High Top, all the way over to almost Stevenson. But again, if we're going to get another tornado that develops here, it's probably going to be right along the state line. That's going to be the most likely location just based on the orientation of this line of storms. And again, where we are seeing the circulation showing up here. Storms get closer to the radar, we kind of lose some of the data perspective. That's why you see the little hole here. It's what we call the cone of silence. The radar can only sense what's going on once the radar beam gets out a little bit away from the radar itself. But again, where we are seeing circulation here, close to Jericho, right along the state line, again along Alabama Highway 79, just outside of High Top. Again, the green blowing towards the radar, which is right here, reds are away. There you see the rotation showing up just outside of Jericho. So that's why the tornado warning was extended. But again, we're not seeing indications that there's something on the ground. I'm going to check that again in just a second. You see the latest data update coming in here, so we'll show you where the circulation has moved. And it's really kind of lost some of its definition. Still showing up here near Jericho. Again, the green is toward, red's away, so now a little bit off of Alabama Highway 79, far northern Jackson County. The black line that you see here that's the state line. So this is Franklin County, Tennessee. This is Jackson County, Alabama. Where the circulation is showing up is right around the Jericho community here on the state line, just outside of High Top. And again, it'll be kind of continuing to hug the state line there. Quick look at the debris tracker. Really don't see anything that's catching my eye here that would indicate that there's something on the ground. So again, this is radar indicated rotation, but that tornado warning has been extended to basically areas right here along the state line. So just keep that in mind. Jericho to, I would say, south of Sherwood, and just off to the northwest of Stevenson is where we have that rotation tracking. Again, it is not nearly as well defined right now as it had been. There's the latest update with the radar showing the leading edge. No, I'm good. Thank you, Tyler, asking if I needed some water. I think I'm good for the moment, but thank you. This is the leading edge, again, of this line of storms coming through. The way it's bowed out, we talk about this. You hear us talk about a bow echo. It basically describes the shape on radar. Looks like the bow of a bow and arrow. That is often a telltale sign that you have very strong wind. That's why that shape is created. So we are seeing that here, northern Jackson County, headed towards Stevenson. Again, I believe this is where we have the greatest potential for damaging wind. The southern extent of this, not quite as well defined. Notice it kind of breaks up. It's not that sharp line from nothing to very heavy rainfall. You just saw the other tornado warning dropping off. Again, a new one was added here right along the state line, northern Jackson, southern parts of Franklin County. But again, this does not look like what it did briefly around Newmarket. But still want you in your tornado safe place, really anywhere here across northern parts of Jackson County, simply for the potential for damaging wind that will come on through. So let me track this all for you. Scottsboro, the worst of this may miss you to the north. Again, this is in general where this bow echo is headed, and where we also have right on the state line at the northern part of the bow, where we do have that circulation and perhaps another opportunity for a tornado to develop, although again, I believe the tornado was generated when this bow echo, this leading edge of this line of storms, intersected this area of showers. You had this line kind of oriented north to south, and then you had this band of showers that was ahead of it, and they kind of merged. That line of showers oriented more from east to west, and when they kind of combine, that created a situation where the spin was increased. And I do believe here along the state line, if something else is going to form, that's where it would happen. Otherwise, what I've got tracked out here for you through Jackson County and even the far northern tip of DeKalb County, northeast of Henniger, is going to be the possibility for damaging straight line wind that could be 50 miles per hour or higher in this part of Jackson County. So here's the time of arrivals for that. Stevenson around 4:41. Into the Long Island area around 4:53, South Pittsburgh, which is just outside there, Chattanooga, in Tennessee, around 4:53, and into the Trenton community around 6:03 on this path right now. So again, this is our main concern for the moment, I believe, for severe weather potential in these areas. Let me kind of expand the view again. Show you what we've got going on. It's getting better in Huntsville, I will say that. I think Demetria can attest to that. We're not hearing the rain, we're not hearing the wind up here on Montesano like we were. And there is a sharp back edge to the rainfall. Light precip continues here downtown towards Meridianville, Hazel Green, and then south into northwestern parts of Marshall County, west of Gunnersville. Nothing that appears to be severe in this area. But again, now heading out of Madison County and across Jackson County, this is where we are seeing that threat for severe weather, and in particular, north of Scottsboro is really where I believe we have the greatest threat for damaging wind. Let me get another look here at the tornado potential, and we'll kind of show you where that has moved. And again, if anything, really, I think we've kind of lost it. We've really kind of, there's nothing here that's super well defined. In general, some rotation here just outside of Jericho, close to the state line. This is not what we would call a tight signature of circulation close to the ground. And that's the benefit of where this storm is. It's right next to this radar. So this is basically the lowest part of the atmosphere that the radar is scanning. And the fact that we don't see anything real ominous here in terms of rotation, really, I believe tornado threat has probably come and gone, at least for now. We'll see if that continues to be the case. See the data updating here. We'll see if anything changes that is of concern. Not particularly in my eye. Again, still some broad rotation here. Greens toward the radar, reds away. So some broad counterclockwise rotation showing up here, but nothing that is sharp and defined like it was earlier. Definitely what we're seeing here in the red, again, that's the wind blowing away. Very sharp edge here to where we have some strong winds. So this is now approaching the Bass community. Areas along Alabama Highway 117 here, northern parts of Jackson County. I do believe this is our greater threat. This is the leading edge where you see this red begin and the sharp change from red to green. That is strong wind gusts that are being detected by radar in the low levels of this line of storms. And again, you can kind of see that here when you look at the radar pattern. Now it is kind of breaking up a little bit. Remember what I was showing you? Very, very sharp change. Not quite as sharp now. Let me back it up here. I mean, when we were at this point, boy, this was significant. Nothing to pounding rain, and again, that transition often marked by strong wind. Notice this extended all the way from west to skyline towards the state line. Not quite as sharp along now this northern part of the line. If anything, it's gotten really kind of squiggly here. I do believe there's still the possibility for some strong wind. So if you're in Stevenson, not in the tornado warning unless you're off northwest of town, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, this northern part of Jackson County, in particular Stevenson, Long Island community here right along the state line heading into Tennessee. This is where we're likely going to still see the potential for some damaging wind gusts. And if there's going to be a tornado, again, I think it's right here along the state line, south of Sherwood, Tennessee there in Franklin County, kind of where you get this rain kind of bowed out here, and then you have this break. That is where, if we're going to see something else spin up, that could occur. But again, I kind of believe that potential has maybe kind of come and gone with the tornado threat here. Let me see if we have any updates. Just some more reports of trees down. Madison County, 6,300 without power. Tree down at 3rd Street and Grayson Street in Gurley, so strong wind in that part of Madison County. Also in Madison County, Hurricane Road area, reports of a power line down. So again, there are power outages continue to add up across parts of Madison County. The worst of the storms have kind of come and gone through Madison County and the Huntsville area. And again, the worst weather that we're seeing right now is here right along the state line, east now of High Top to near Stevenson, a little west of there, and also into southern Franklin County here in southern Middle Tennessee. Scottsboro just got some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning. There's still some heavy rain parts of Madison County now towards just outside of Owens Crossroads, a little east of New Hope, just north of Grant, very heavy rainfall. Farther south, there are some heavier storms. We're going to keep an eye on these. Heading towards Joppa Arab right now, west of Gunnersville, northeastern parts of Coleman County. Lots of lightning. Again, for some reason, a lot of the lightning strikes are showing up behind the core of heavier rainfall. Let me take a quick look here. We'll keep an eye on this. There's a little rotation showing up here, northeast Coleman County. This is northern Blount County. This is near the intersection of 278, 231 here in Blount County. And you do see rotation here. Red's blowing away from the radar. Green is towards. This is looking kind of high up, though, into this thunderstorm near Baileyton. But definitely some circulation showing up with this storm here. So we'll keep an eye on that. So just a heads up, because this is building east, moving across northern Blount County. That's outside of our coverage area. But into Marshall County, Douglas to Albertville to Boaz. Let me just track this for you. This will be a heads up. There's nothing of imminent concern here. We don't have any warnings associated with this, but just something that we're watching, this heavier storm. Moving out of Coleman, northern parts of Blount County. Let me track this through Marshall County just to give you time of arrival, when it's going to arrive. Douglas area, around 4:51. This will be in Albertville, around 4:55. Boaz, towards the top of the hour. Again, not severe warm, not tornado warm, but strong storm. A little rotation showing up with it. We're going to keep an eye on it for you if you're in southern parts of Marshall County. But just a heads up that that is headed in your direction. Again, the wider view where we do, excuse me, the warnings. Jackson County now looks like a new tornado warning has been issued for areas now towards towards Stevenson. I am going to grab some water real quick, but I'm going to continue to talk. So if you are there at Stevenson, northward and eastward, I do want you to head to your tornado safe place in that part of Jackson County. New tornado warning has been issued. It's kind of broad in where it's being drawn. But if you are now in northeastern Jackson County and also northern DeKalb County, Ider points northward, just go ahead and head to your tornado safe place. I'm going to take a quick look here and see what we've got going on. I do believe this may be more associated with the possibility something may spin up here on the leading edge of where the wind is. But let's get in here and just take a quick look at the wind velocity. I'm going to check and see about the tornado warning and what was issued for. Okay, so this is why it is drawn out this way. They're indicating, Weather Service has multiple areas of rotation being indicated here that could spin up anywhere along this line. So this is one of those, sometimes warnings, whether it's tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, just kind of a blanket warning. It's not for anything specific. Like what we had near Newmarket, that was specific. That was there, that we could track it, nail it down to exactly where it was there, just east of town. This is a little more broad-based. Possibility that something quick might spin up along the leading edge of this, but nothing that we are tracking specifically right now. So sometimes the Weather Service will issue what I like to call these kind of blanket warnings, not for anything specific, but just as a precaution that something may quickly spin. And that's really kind of the setup. Like I said, we're not set up that we're going to get a storm that's going to produce a tornado, and the tornado is something that we're going to be able to track for miles and miles and 10, 20, 30 minutes. It's not going to be that sort of thing. It's going to be something that quickly develops, maybe touches down briefly. Again, that happened around Newmarket. Pretty sure we did have something that touched down there. The good news is likely in a rural mountain forested area and no communities impacted. Watching around Stevenson, just based on the way it looks on radar, so Stevenson and points eastward, do want you in your shelter, so that's one area to watch. But again, the tornado warning, fairly broad, stretches all the way here from just outside of Scottsboro towards the state line in this part of Jackson County. It also includes areas of DeKalb County north of Ider. So again, anywhere along this line where we're starting to see some breaks and some gaps in the line, something quickly could spin up. Again, Stevenson, that's one area that is catching my eye at the moment. You can kind of see here looking at the wind velocity. And again, this is a reason for the blanket warning. There are a few areas here north of Stevenson. Again, greens toward, reds away. So right here north of Stevenson. In the vicinity of Stevenson, we've got the red blowing away. This is also, again, likely some strong damaging wind coming through. And then the green kind of back here towards Stevenson, so another area of rotation here. And then looking farther to the south along this line, nothing that really jumps out at me right now. So at the moment, a couple areas do stand out. Nothing that looks substantial, but near Stevenson, some rotation showing up here. North of Stevenson, just off of Highway 72, some rotation showing up here as well. And then maybe also here just inside the Franklin County line, across the Tennessee line there into southern Middle Tennessee, just near that southeastern corner of Franklin County. So again, this is for a tornado warning for these areas. At the very least, I think there's going to be some strong wind, and you can certainly count on that. And again, a couple little notches here, the one near Stevenson, the one north of Stevenson. Maybe something will quickly spin up here, likely would not be long-lived. But let's track this out for you here for northern parts of Jackson County. I think this is where our greatest severe weather potential lies, short term, next 10, 15 minutes or so. Pisgah, close to you, although you're just outside of the tornado warning, but you are in the severe thunderstorm warning. But heavier storms west of town will be moving in, could bring some strong wind. The Bridgeport area around 449. If you're in Rosalie, this is coming in around 451. Again, Ider, you're kind of at the southern extent of this severe threat, 457. And Trenton, 604, that's going into northwestern Georgia. But again, if you're in this northeastern corner of Jackson County, new tornado warning has been issued for these areas. So go ahead and head to your tornado safe place. Again, at the very least, strong wind, 50, 60 miles per hour possibility out of these storms, and maybe a quick spin up. I don't think it's going to be anything more sustained than that, but just something to be aware of with this line of storms coming on through. Let's kind of clear things out for you. Show you the bigger picture. Once again, there's going to be a little more rain that's going to come in for you folks here out towards the shoals, northwest Alabama, but there's a reasonably good chance we're not going to have any more severe weather threats, even if you do pick up some more rain out here, Muscle Shoals, back towards Red Bay here in the next couple of hours. Again, where we have our most organized storm activity, just a small cluster of it here, northeastern Alabama, starts northeast Coleman County, heads through western Marshall County. Nothing that is severe warned here, but some intense storms. And again, the most organized storms are in this northern, we'll say the northern half of Jackson County, just outside of Scottsboro, Stevenson, and basically points eastward. You're under the threat for a couple things. Number one, some damaging wind, and again, the possibility that we might get a quick little spin-up tornado. Again, there's nothing specific that I'm tracking at the moment, but let's kind of get back in here. Again, a couple things that we look for along these lines of storms. If you get a little notch, a little indentation in the line. Got one here near Stevenson. So again, if there's going to be a quick spin up, this is probably where it would happen now, east of Stevenson. So watching that area. And again, the possibility for some strong wind out of this as well. But again, the Weather Service is kind of issuing a blanket warning, which is why this covers such a large area. It doesn't mean we're going to have a tornado that big or tornadoes all along here, just that along the leading edge of this line of storms, there's that potential that we could get a little quick spin up. So go ahead and go to your tornado safe place, lowest level of the building that you're in. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, right now looking at the wind velocity, what I'm seeing more so than anything else is strong straight line wind. That's the red color here blowing away from the radar site in high top. So this is strong wind blowing out on the leading edge of this line of storms that again could be on the order of 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. As far as tight areas of rotation, that would indicate where we have maybe a spin up type of tornado. A few areas, yes, that show up. Anything that immediately makes me think, oh my gosh, we have something imminent developing tornado-wise, not necessarily. But again, we're still seeing at least some areas to watch. East now of Stevenson, so I think the tornado potential has left you in Stevenson. That's now showing up here north of Sulphur Springs near Cameronsville. So again, this area of Jackson County, basically now east of Stevenson, northeastern Jackson County to the Georgia border, Still need you to be alert to this. Head to your tornado safe place. We're talking anywhere from between Alabama Highway 2 and looks like Alabama Highway 73. This is kind of the zone in Jackson County where you do need to be seeking shelter for some strong straight line wind and perhaps a brief little tornado spin up. Let me check here. Again, we're just getting more reports. Quite a few out of Madison County. Transformer down on Chateau Drive southwest. Power lines down on Monroe Drive in Madison, Huntsville area. Had a house fire earlier, so another house fire that appears to be from a lightning strike on Burton Circle Northwest. Not really sure where that is in Madison County, but a house on fire from what they believe was a lightning strike. And I believe we had a house fire earlier today from earlier storms that were caused by lightning strikes. Highway 79 in High Top, fully blocked by trees down. So that's where the storm moved through previously. Meridianville, power poles leaning across roadway. Let me see where that is. Doesn't list a specific location, just southwest of Meridianville. So basically all northern parts of Madison County. Reports coming in, trees, power lines down. Again, the worst of the weather now has moved out of Madison County. It is here into Jackson County. Again, if there's going to be maybe a quick little spin up, I think near Cameronsville, east of Stevenson, is where that could be a possibility. Let me show you the bigger picture again. We'll put it back on the regular rain pattern. Again, everything is pretty well concentrated here in Jackson County. This tornado warning should be going away. So the only active area of potential for tornadoes, this far northeastern corner of the state, Jackson County, northern DeKalb County, just north of Ider, basically anywhere along this leading edge of this line coming through, possibility for a quick spin up. Possibility that we see some strong damaging wind, although this appears to be losing its structure just a little bit. Let me show you what it looked like. Going back in time here. When it was coming out of Madison County. Again, very well defined, sharp leading edge. We're not seeing that now. It's kind of becoming a little bit more ragged. There are some areas though along the line where there could be a little spin. And again, notice that you don't have that sharp edge anymore. So we might be, and you see a new severe thunderstorm warning for this now coming into Georgia. So the leading edge of this line will be crossing the state line here probably in the next 15 minutes or so. I think the warning goes until 5:30. Let me run down the warnings. So we have couple severe thunderstorm warnings. The tornado warning goes until, let me check the time here, until 5. So I'm expecting at 5 o'clock that warning will be allowed to expire just because of where the storm is located now. Again, the worst of the weather is here in Jackson County. Our tornado warning goes until 5. See the current time, 4:52. Nothing immediate that I'm seeing and have been seeing that indicates an imminent tornado threat, but certainly some strong wind. Quick check here. Again, if anything's going to develop, here's Cameronsville. This is County Road 91, right in this area where you see the green kind of going back, the red kind of bowing out here. It's going to be right at this intersection where the green and the red kind of come together east of Cameronsville. If something's going to spin up, that's where it's going to be. So if you're in this area east of Cameronsville, headed towards Alabama Highway 71, 73, Higdon to Floral Crest, go ahead and head to your tornado safe place just to be on the safe side. This will be an area to watch. Let's kind of go along the line here. Don't see anything else. In fact, you get down to Pisgah towards Dutton. You've got all red here, which means the wind that's being detected all blowing in the same direction. So no spin here if you're around Pisgah. Not really concerned there around Rosalie. You saw the update as well. So here along Highway 71, from Rosalie to Pisgah to Morris Mill to the Dutton community, this is all straight wind. This is not any sort of spinning wind being detected here. So this is all straight line wind. So I don't think we have tornado potential here. Go farther down into southern Jackson County section. Not really concerned with what I'm seeing here. I know you see some green and some red kind of clustered together here outside of Grant, southwest Scottsboro. Not really concerned about this. And then as we head down into Marshall County, still looking here, again, west of Douglas. Again, there's no warnings here. There's not a severe thunderstorm warning. There's not a tornado warning. There is some rotation being detected, but this is kind of far from the radar site, so this is being detected high up in the storm. But you see it west of Douglas, green's blowing towards the radar, red's away, so a little circulation here in between Brooksville and Douglas, going from Blount into Marshall County. So again, keeping an eye on this, but nothing that is anything to sound the alarm at the moment. So there's a strong thunderstorm moving through. Again, a lot of lightning kind of on the back edge of the storm, a lot of heavy rain. On the leading edge, Highway 79 there. So Guntersville, some light rain coming in, but as this tracks east, this will be pushing into Albertville, Boaz, so very heavy rainfall for you, but again, nothing that is warned in this area. But again, you can see where we've got the action. Sand Mountain, Marshall, Jackson County, DeKalb County, you're kind of waiting your turn. Huntsville, it was fast and furious, very heavy rainfall, strong wind, had a wind gust report north of Decatur and between Athens and Decatur of 49 miles per hour. I believe we had wind at Huntsville International Airport also in excess of 40 to almost 50 miles per hour. I'm pretty sure that's what we had north of Huntsville, moved through the Meridianville, Hazel Green area. Very likely had some 50, 60 mile per hour wind that moved through that part of Madison County. And again, that is all shifted into Jackson County right now. Again, there is rain and storm activity back towards the west of the shoals. Let me show you the wider picture. None of this is severe. There is some heavier rain, probably some thunder and lightning, especially near Tupelo, heavier shower there. Back to the west and northwest of Corinth, Mississippi. Again, area of rain here, but nothing that, at least for now, is severe, and probably even as some of this kind of pivots into the shoals, northwest Alabama, may not necessarily be severe for you folks. Let me get an update here.
Well, while you're doing that, you have some
Yeah, well, let's go over to Demetria with an update. What you got?
Going to give you a little bit of a break there, Jeff.
All right, I appreciate that.
I do have 3 damage reports that I did want to talk about. One is a transformer down at 515 Chateau Drive Southwest that is over in the Huntsville area. We do have a power line that's down over at 400 Monroe Drive, and a house that's on fire from a lightning strike, they say, on Burton Circle. So we do have crews who are out right now across the area. They are checking into these reports. As soon as we get information back, we are going to let you know. I do want to now go to our power outage map. Just take a look at this. So the last time that Jeff checked in, he told you about 6,400 customers were affected. Look at that number now. We are up to 7,167. If we zoom in a little bit more over in that the northeast area that he was referring to that had some of that rotation, you can see that's where we see the most outages right there, with around 1,000 customers who are affected. So Jeff, I'm going to send this back to you, but I'm going to stay on top of this, and as soon as another report comes in, I'll let you know.
All righty, thank you, Demetria. Also keeping an eye on the radar. Going to focus in on this area off to the northwest of Langston right now. This is a little east of Woodville. This is kind of the southern extent of those bigger storms in Jackson County. A little bit of rotation now starting to show up here. It's not real strong. It's what we call broad rotation. just northwest of Langston, a little east of Swearingen, basically this south central part of Jackson County, south of 72. Little circulation right along Highway 79, again, just northwest of Langston. Little rotation showing up here, keeping an eye on that. Nothing that is an imminent concern, but as we've kind of been watching there, southern Marshall County, where there's a little rotation that's being detected, we are keeping an eye on this as well for you. Otherwise, our main storm activity and potential for maybe a brief spin up does continue here. Still seeing it, and this has been holding together in extreme eastern Jackson County now. Again, this is pretty close to Higdon, right where Alabama Highway 71, Alabama Highway 73 come together near Higdon. Again, still some rotation showing up here, and our tornado warning does go for just another minute. We'll see if they allow that to expire because this storm's going to be headed down into Georgia as well. So it will be out of our coverage area and out of Alabama here fairly soon. But let's kind of reset the view here. There you see where the storms are, right on the state line. Again, just outside of Higdon, right in here, still some rotation, but this is the state line, so this is about into Georgia. So they're probably going to let that tornado warning expire here for Jackson County. So we'll stay with you for just a couple more minutes. And we do continue with severe thunderstorm warning as well. That does include, there you see a new tornado warning, but again, that's now in Georgia. So it looks like the warning will be allowed to expire here for North Alabama, but I'll check in with the Weather Service in just a second. Monitoring this storm outside of Scottsboro, very heavy rainfall for you in Scottsboro right now, and a little rotation showing up near Langston, just southwest of Scottsboro. We're keeping an eye on. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. That does include this storm moving through Scottsboro, and that will continue towards places like Henniger, Eider. You're starting to see some heavier rain move in near town right now. And again, our tornado warnings, the one looks like it's dropped off. Let me see the other one here, because again, the tornado warning now for this part of the storm, this has crossed the state line on into Georgia. So that's where we have a more imminent threat, perhaps, for a tornado now into northwest Georgia. So let me see what they're maybe going to do with the warning that still is in effect here for Jackson County, if that's going to be continued or not. I would think they might want to go ahead and cancel that early. Again, there's Trenton, Georgia, and again, this is now across the state line. So I think that's really our only area of concern. So even though there's technically, yes, there's still a tornado warning here that does include parts of Jackson County. You can see that goes until 5:30. I can't imagine that they're not going to cancel this early since the area of rotation or potential rotation has now shifted on into Georgia. And I really don't think there's concern within this tornado warned area that you see drawn in red here. I don't think there's an additional threat for the time being along any of this southern extent of the line. It's going to be here now across the state line into Georgia. So Weather Service should probably cancel that tornado warning early. That does include you folks in Jackson and northern DeKalb County. We do continue with severe thunderstorm warnings for areas outside of that. That does include you around the Scottsboro area. Let me take another quick look here. Again, there was some rotation that was being picked up on radar here outside of Langston. Let me see what that looks like right now. Doesn't look like much compared to what it did. This is what we were watching near Langston, just northwest. So keep that in mind as what it looked like then compared to what it looks like now. And it's really not particularly defined at this point in time. So I don't think we have tornado threats showing up there. Continue to watch here into southern parts of Marshall County. Again, there was just briefly here outside of Douglas near Nixon Chapel, and even back into Blount County, it was even more well defined. But even here, as I march this forward, really kind of losing what we were seeing, excuse me, on radar in terms of rotation. Let me take a look at some other products here. So that's what was being picked up there in between Nixon Chapel and Douglas. This is just another way of looking at the radar. It looks at, it's a product that looks at that wind velocity data, and then instead of us with our eye trying to look at the green and the red and figuring out where the most significant circulation is, this kind of boils it all down. So again, that corresponds to what I was seeing, but keep in mind this rotation product is generally a few minutes old, so it's not necessarily current. There you see northwest of Langston. Again, we were seeing that, so that was being picked up on this product. But again, this is as of a few minutes ago. And again, this is now moved into northwest Georgia towards Trenton. Again, this was a few minutes ago where we were still seeing that signature showing up there in Jackson County. So those, and you just saw the latest updates. So again, that little bit of rotation that we were tracking in Jackson County east of Stevenson, again, the newest update here showing that's moving into Georgia. So that kind of ends the tornado potential. It looks like the Weather Service did cancel the tornado warning for Jackson County. Let me just double check that. And again, I don't see anything else. A couple little spots here. Nothing that's really bothering me too much. And same in Marshall County. What I showed you a moment ago, that it continues to fade near Douglas. So last look here at the big picture, what we've got going on. Tornado warning canceled early for Jackson to Cobb County. That is now into northwest Georgia. Severe thunderstorm warning does remain here for areas around Scottsboro and points eastward into northern DeKalb County. Possibility for some strong wind, but again, very much different picture than what we had when this activity was moving through the I-65 corridor and points eastward. We are going to take a quick break here, but we'll be back with another weather update and your news of the day coming up right after this.